Estate planning isn't just about protecting assets. It's also about ensuring your legacy and minimizing the impact of taxes on your estate. With the start of 2025, it's a great time to reassess your estate strategy and make any necessary updates. Joining us today with more on that is Paul Lindsey with MacMillan Estate Planning. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. So I guess the main question, why should we prioritize estate planning in 2025?
Well, I think estate planning generally is always something that's near the top of our New Year's resolution list. You know, we want to get it done, get it out of the way, or perhaps we've had a particularly unpleasant time with the family. We find that typically the divorce rate is much higher during the early part of the year. But from the perspective of 2025 specifically, we do have some changes to the personal income tax rates, which might keep a few dollars in our pocket, but arguably that might be offset by us ending up paying a little bit more in CPP.
Right.
But the biggest change is probably going to be the fact that this year we're going to see the provisions that were proposed at the spring budget coming forward in terms of a bit of a rehash of the capital gains tax regime.
Right, let's talk a little bit about that. So what should our estate planning focus on when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, principally, the impact of these legislative changes is that we're probably going to see more capital gains tax being paid in our estates. Now, of course, with any legislative change, if we do some prudent planning, we can be live to this, we can have that degree of flexibility to make moves if we need to. But the main thing I would say is that these changes are really going to impact business owners who will certainly end up paying more capital gains than they would, in years past.
Okay, so although tax is obviously very important, there are other considerations as well. So could you talk about what those are?
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. Tax is not the only driver in our estate plan. There are all sorts of other things. For some people, it might be market volatility. I mean, 2024 was very similar to most years. We had volatility in the markets, largely off the back of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, the US election, things like that. But if you don't like the idea of market volatility being present in your estate, you can sort of reduce the impact a little bit through a particular style of investing that gives you investment guarantees, so that when you pass away or when the investment matures, you will know that you or your estate will have all of the investment you've put in plus the market growth. And of course, in addition to that, we'll sort of tie the whole piece together with some good legal planning, just having a good will, a good power of attorney, personal directive, and looking at things like trusts as a means of protecting wealth in our lifetime and when we pass away. And lastly, and certainly by no means least, we have to think about, is there anything in your particular family that is unique to you, that you want to protect, that you want to sort of maintain, that's arguably one of the softer issues in your planning outside of the cold, hard, legal and tax work.
And so what are some of the steps that people would take to do all of those things?
Well, I suppose the first thing is that we do offer a number of complimentary webinars, seminars, things of that nature. The first one is coming up later this month. You can register on our website, and then off the back of that, if you like the look of it, we can offer a complimentary session where we can chat to you about your family, your estate, the sorts of things that, have you waking up at night in a cold sweat, but estate planning only, of course. And then we can build a bit of a proposal to say, well, this is how we think we can bring value to you and your family. And if you like it, obviously we march forward from there.
Okay, perfect. Great suggestions, and definitely something for people to think about as we enter into this new year. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And the webinar, again, is taking place on Thursday, January 23rd at 6:30 p.m. Guests can register online or by phoning 1-833-266-6464 or visit them online at macmillanestate.com.